What's up, guys? Mayan here with another video. This is video 3 of the series How to Make a Track from Scratch. This is the video where I start laying down the track and I do some basic mixing. So yeah, guys, let's do this. So for me, after you put them up in a group, I just like color coding things because it makes it easier for my head to work. So my mid drums are gonna go with yellow, percussion, always orange. Then we have melody parts, this blue one right here. Bass line and kick are always going to be red. You can color code things however you want. The other thing that is important for you to do at this stage when you have all your elements ready is to actually do some basic EQing, right? In some basic mixing so you can have everything sounding good in this process. So this is the kick. So my kick is hitting on -8. I usually try to mix to -6, right? And like in my master channel, I do add a limiter just so I can get an idea on like how this is going to be sounding. You know, one thing that I do add is the dangerous kick. It makes things sound really punchy. Then I have the bass line here. So it's like super chunky, right? The things that I did, obviously I started by EQing. Then I add a couple of other elements to this. I like this little thing. If you can get it, if you're a UAD user, yeah, do yourself a favor and get like Voice of God. It rounds off the like lower end frequencies really well. So this is without any processing. With processing, sounds like rounder. So I do take off, you know, a little bit of the frequencies that I know that might be conflicting later on. Then a little bit of compression. I finish it off with the Manly low end shaper. Just makes it big. And then also, you know, I have the volume shaper. So like my kick is not gonna get sucked in by how big this is, but as you can tell, you know, like it makes you want to dance. That's what we want. So for the second bass line, kind of similar. In this one, I take up a little bit more of the bottom end, up to 80. Then compression for the side chain, and then I use the passive EQ, and then I use the bass part. And I try to like push the middle so it sounds, you know, fun. So we're gonna use that in different parts of the track that I'm thinking about when I don't need that like big heavy bass hitting. Then after that we have the melodic elements. Again, you know, this one's just gonna round things off a little bit. Nothing crazy. I tend to just cut off anything that is hitting around where the kick would be hitting, just so like it doesn't like muddy up my mix. And then for this other melodic part, just this pad right here, same idea. A little bit of side chain. This stab right here. So for the stab, I did add a little bit more delay, and I have this buzzing effect that goes through pads. Right, so if we look at this right here, it's gonna have the UAD Galaxy, and it just spreads it out a little bit more, makes the track a little bit bigger. And then this percussive sound. Yeah, this one later on, you know, is gonna be chopped up and everything. So then the percussions. So these ones also are going to be chopped up. So like I have different elements happening at different times of the track. I'm not gonna leave it as it is because if not, it's gonna get really boring in that process. So that's gonna come in the editing part of this track. Then, so one thing that I do a lot is I do sidechain the hats. I don't know, it adds a little bit more movement. So yeah. Let's see what else. All right, that's pretty much it. I'm like, my main focus when I was like mixing this up, and I'm not gonna bore you with how like tweaking and all that stuff goes down, is I take a reference on my kick, and then I go from there, and then I use this side chain track to help me, you know, move elements so it goes better with the kick. Now I think that we're ready to start laying down the track. So there's different ways of doing this. If you don't have an idea on how you're able to like set this up, right? One thing that you could do is go and like bring a track that you might like the layout of, and then, make it your ghost track and like chop it up. If you are going to do that, is add a BPM counter just to see where everything is at with the track that you want to emulate. So that's at 22. So in Logic, you can use this thing that is called the flex tool, and then you can flex the track and spread it so it's at 123. I'm sure that you can do this with Ableton on like whatever DAW you use. Yeah, it sounds about right. So then you go in, you're able to see what parts of the track and how the track works. So here you have like a little change, and I just like use the markers to chop things up, but we're not gonna do that for this track. I already have an idea in my head on like what I want the track to be sounding like, and I color code this part as well. My way of thinking is 32 bars is gonna be for DJs. So I usually color code them in yellow, then from 16 to 32. So I'm gonna do a 16 bar break. It's gonna be teal. Then we're gonna bring in here 16. Then we're gonna go to 32 bars. It's gonna be red. So I'm gonna have two main chunky parts of the main of the track. Obviously, there's gonna be some variation. And this one, I'm gonna go with teal again. And this one, set it green, because that's gonna be like the main dramatic part of the track. And then we're gonna bring this in again. So then we have another red part. And then from here, we start our outro. Let's do orange again. The other thing that I do is I copy everything multiple times. I go over elements and I mute elements in and out from the track. That's how I lay down the first part of my track. So after I have this kind of like layout or idea down, then I start working different parts of the track. I usually just go ahead and I just mute a lot of the elements. So I start with the kick, this bass line. And the other thing that started the track, right, is this set of hats. Then was the melodic sound. Just to do a little bit of a change up is I usually have like a tap kick that's happening. I cut out like up to like 120 hertz. And then that's kind of like the beginning. So you can see like the change, from like having a tap kick, this part, right? The first 30 seconds of a track, this is gonna get mixed. So you don't want to be putting all the meat at the beginning. So that's one of the things that I tend to do. Okay, so I know that one of the parts that I really enjoy about this track, but I don't want it happening straight at the beginning, is okay, I want it to be sounding like right here, because I think that at that point, like the track is going to start evolving. So for this first part of the track, ready, just developing, parts of the track. The other thing, right, is like there's for sure needs to be a change. Oh, and that happens. So right here, I think that I can get away with using these elements. Okay, so over here, I'm gonna mute this, and then the big chunky bass line is gonna come in. then like right here, I have this percussion sound that could be interesting to bring in. So that one's gonna get chopped up for sure. This is too repetitive. There's a point when I need to bring this one in. Yeah, so like right here, I can make the decision of bringing this one in or bringing in the claps. I kind of like taking the last kick off. I don't know. It gives it a little bit of a pause. Right here, we are going to bring in the magic again. And I'm only thinking okay, so now here, and then I'm gonna bring all the elements in. So yeah, I think that the groove of the track is this right here. So I need to like chop this up so like it's not as repetitive. The other thing I'm gonna add maybe like a couple of like other elements. So test this out. So now you're gonna start seeing a lot of automation because I don't know, then I don't have to like be muting and things like that up. And then later on we'll clean everything. Yeah, it's gonna be different. He's trying to figure out an idea. So like, I think here, I am going to add like, it's kind of like a sub, um, just like it adds some tension, and I think I have one in my splice. I think it does sound really good. Yeah, I think this one's it. So like once it's here, yeah. But for this video, I wanted to show you the first part of my process on how I start creating the track and how I start laying it out and kind of like the ideas behind it. You should for sure check out, video number 1 when I started like making the track, and then video number 2 when I like recorded like percussions and like all this other stuff live. All right, guys, let me comment. Bye. Peace.